Hey, my name is Kyle Rush, and you are watching the No Counts Given podcast.
The standard. You guys are like setting standards year after year after year for dance team. And I was actually literally just talking to Sammy about this, where I watch competition videos now for a living.
Yeah, that's so cool, by the way.
I love it. I'm not
it's
kidding
a
at all.
way to spend your day.
And it's very obvious when I watch routines and I'm like, okay, very Minnesota inspired, very Ohio State inspired. What does it mean for like the both of you individually to be that standard in dance team?
It's a deep question.
I know. It's it can be overwhelming at times. I'll be honest. Like I had a realization, kind of like the very first event I did. I said I got this new role as like the head coach of our spirit squad, and actually like our very first event, our banquet wrapping up last year, I realized was literally 20 years to the day of my first day of tryouts to like join Minnesota. And so it's like that was like a really full circle moment for me, because when I was an 18-year-old going to try out at Minnesota, I was just somebody that was like, I'm from Minnesota, I like the school, I want to dance. Like, I had friends that like I knew from high school that had like gone on to be on the team. This seems like a really cool thing. And it's like 20 years later, this is literally my living, and like this is what I do. And it's kind of wild to think, because 18-year-old Amanda didn't ever think dance team would like evolve to this.
Right.
And so to I won my first national championship as a freshman on the team, and to now 20 years later still be kind of like in this space where it feels like we're pushing boundaries, we're still at that level. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, but it really is a privilege as well. Like, it's cool to see how much the sport has grown, how much people care. We had a local news station come down to nationals and like report live on nationals, and like that just like even 5 years ago that would have been like, we were like, oh my gosh, like the newspaper wants to do an article, like how fun. And now it's like that's just kind of become standard practice, and that's so cool to see. And so I think it's like I want to be able to keep pushing that's the experience for everybody in this sport, not just the experience for the Minnesotas and the Ohio States.
Yeah.
Like, I want everybody to get that recognition. And so I think it's just cool to get to be kind of like at the forefront. It's like really like an all ships rise mentality. It's really cool to be at the forefront of that. And it's exciting to see what new people come into the space and like continue to push things forward.
I mean, I would echo all of that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the word that came to mind right away was just gratitude, honestly. I also sort of like haphazardly got involved with dance team, like had never held palms before I went to college. Like, dance team is still not a big thing in Ohio. It was just an activity in college, and like never in a million years would have dreamt of this. And I think especially coming from the studio world, and to see a little bit of the intersection of those two worlds is, and the respect that's being garnered and in that world for what's going on in our world. When so long dance team has been the black sheep. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently heard you speak on a webinar or a podcast, and you mentioned the importance of studio training. And I don't know if you noticed, but that sparked a lot of conversation.
It did.
It did. I mentor a lot of dancers, right? For recruitment or competition or doing solos teams. And I had a dancer that only does high school. And when she heard that, she freaked out of like, I'm not gonna be able to make a college team. I need to get into a studio ASAP. Can you dive a little bit deeper into it? Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, I think some of it was misunderstood. And I think the intention I will stand by.
A lot of it was misunderstood.
I think at the end of the day, it's more about training and less about where. I think for a lot of that sort of seminar thing was talking to studio owners.
Yes.
Who are frustrated with dance team because many of their students are quitting at 9th grade or 10th grade just to go do their dance team after they have poured their heart and soul in these kids, trained them.
Yes.
And then they're leaving completely.
Yeah.
And so really the intent of the message was like, you need to continue to train in a setting.
Yes.
If your dance team can't offer that, which most dance teams, I think Minnesota dance teams are an exception because they're phenomenal.
I know.
But most high school dance teams don't have a training program built in.
Yeah.
It's more about like, let's learn choreography and let's rehearse versus like actually developmental skills or foundations. And so I think really the message, to be really blunt, is like you have to continue to train at a high level if you want to be on an elite college dance team.
Yeah.
But not all college dance teams, and not, it's a very specific message to a very specific person, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like training with the intent.
Yes.
And like with goals aligned as well too makes it very important. I think one, if I am an incoming freshman in high school and my goal is to join an elite program, I know that I need to step up my training.
Right.
In general.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the sentiment of it.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
you can't just expect to like go to any nationals as a dance team and that be enough.
Yeah.
You have to actually put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that there is any kind of like restrictions when it comes to rules and the arena that you guys compete in? I watch a lot of college nationals between UDA to NDA to DTU, even like high school. I love watching Contest of Champions.
Yeah.
I think just this year they started streaming Minnesota State.
Yeah.
I was watching that, and it's
a different
really
world,
crazy. Yeah, all of them are like different.
Yeah.
Utah, I watched. I was like,
Yeah.
but do you feel like there's any kind of like restrictions that maybe shouldn't be there? Let's say, I know we talked about like category differences, right? Or maybe like costuming, skills that you could use, score sheet maybe. Like, is there anything that you feel like could be tweaked in the space to make it a better space for us dancers?
I think like the score sheet is always an interesting conversation.
Always.
But again, I know there's a lot of discourse around like how we maybe standardize score sheets across competitions, or I know like the difficulty score is like a hot topic of like, like how do you qualify what is more difficult than something else in like a split second?
Yeah.
I don't know that I know like the right answer. I think it's like we're also in the space where it's like you want to be so careful of like limiting us, because it's like now people are paying attention, like the sky is the limit of like where this could go. And so what's that balance of standardization and like consistency while also still allowing space to see like where does this evolve to? I get asked all the time, like, what's the biggest piece of advice you can give me as I'm like preparing? And it's like, train, because what dance team was 5 years ago is so different than what it is now. So like you're a freshman in high school, I don't know what dance team is going to be like by the time you're actually getting recruited. No, so it's hard for me to say like you should be doing this, and this.
It's going to change every year. Yeah.
Ballet is never the wrong answer, right? You should be training. You should be versatile. You should be able to pick up choreography. You should be able to take corrections and apply them. Yep. But for me to say like you need to be doing this because this is where the category is going to go, or this is what it's going to be, is really hard to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's such a like I can talk out of both sides of my mouth with that, because part of what I love about dance is like how you can go different places, and it's like it's appreciated and respected in for how different it is.
Yeah. But
then there also is value when you look at like how do we create more standards.
Yeah.
To like elevate. So it's just like that's a conversation for people way smarter than me. I think I'm like
I need to find them. If you're smarter than Amanda Gaines, can you please write me?
Like I'm just gonna stay in the gym and like coach the kids and like do like push boundaries that I think I can push.
Yeah.
But like making those decisions, I'm like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything that you can get a little bit more creativity from a rule perspective is nice. I think there is a box that we're all living in. So anytime the box can get a little bigger, I appreciate it. But I do agree that like some of the more quantitative captions are the more frustrating when you are trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah.